Good evening, and welcome back to Orwell's Minutemen, or welcome to Orwell's Minutemen if you're a first-time listener. I'm Concord, got Lex here with me.
Hey, how's it going?
And tonight we're gonna stick with our running theme of the regressive left and talk about one particular aspect of their ideology that Lex has had a personal experience with recently.
I have had a personal experience recently.
We'll get to that later.
Forgot about that, actually.
but first, this girl up on the screen. Do you see anything wrong with her? Is there anything innately wrong with this image?
I mean...
Is she oppressing anyone?
I mean, I personally don't like that hairstyle, so there's a lot wrong with it, but... No, she's not oppressing anyone.
Okay. Well, according to the regressive left, she is taking part in a terrible crime against humanity known as cultural appropriation.
Cultural appropriation. We love this. We love this so much because we can't believe how ridiculous it is.
Now, cultural appropriation is the idea that certain pieces of culture, certain pieces of art and technology and such that have been created by one race, one ethnicity, one group should not be used by other groups outside of that group of origin.
I think it's more like the idea that it's those technologies, those art styles, those, pieces of their culture, they've been stolen by other cultures.
Yes, that definitely plays a role in it. And they say a lot that, like, you have to understand the significance and the cultural importance of these things in these other cultures if you wish to use them.
So I'm guessing the SJWs think this girl's a Nazi.
Pretty close. Here we have a white girl wearing box braids, which is considered a black, in heavy air quotes, hairstyle. And this poor girl was assailed by all sorts of regressives on the internet, talking about how she was appropriating their culture and how she was, stealing from them and then just flaunting it. So we've got a Huffington Post article here that runs through basically what cultural appropriation is and such. We've got another image there of a white woman wearing a traditionally black hairstyle. So that's
I just want to point out we're using a lot of air quotes.
Yeah, there are a lot of air
we're
quotes
doing
here.
this, and you can't see it because you can't see us, but there are so many air quotes when we go into this. It's hilarious.
And now you may think to yourself, well, I mean, these are just people who are are cultural purists or whatever, and they just want to hoard their culture for themselves, right? Well, no, because this has real effects in the real world. For example, the Museum of Fine Arts was forced to close down a Claude Monet exhibit because apparently it encouraged Orientalism. So,
encouraged Orientalism.
This happened a while ago, but I think it's one of the best examples of cultural appropriation to date, running amok. If you're familiar with this Monet painting, which will be displayed up on the screen, it features who we believe to be Monet's wife, dressed in a kimono and holding a Japanese-style fan. Well, the Museum of Fine Arts held an exhibit in which they would display this painting, and then they would provide a kimono, very much like the one in the painting, and a fan. And the idea was patrons could come through, wear the kimono, and hold the fan to recreate the pose that's being done in the painting. And you can have your picture taken or whatever.
Well, we can't have that, because that's distinctly Japanese.
Yeah, I mean, white people wearing a kimono?
Can't have that. They're stealing it.
That's disgusting.
It's...
and
it's a slap in the face, according to HuffPost.
Yes. It says here, protesters showed up at the exhibit. One man was holding a sign that read, oh, hold on, I lost it.
This is appropriation.
Yes.
This is Orientalism.
Yes. And then another protester said, Asian Americans in this country have a history of being mis- or underrepresented. They're either completely absent from the media or only depicted as kung fu, exoticized, mystical dragon ladies, prostitutes, or what have you. Now, I'm not even going to address the fact that this quote is unsubstantiated.
Completely unsubstantiated.
What I am going to ask you is, how is encouraging people to explore your culture, to experience it, and to appreciate it, encouraging racism against that culture?
Apparently, according to this article, trying on the kimono is essentially learn what it's like to be a racist imperialist today.
Because racist imperialists are so notorious for taking pieces of their conquered people's cultures and celebrating them in museums.
No.
It baffles me that there are people who would advocate against the sharing and understanding of cultures.
They want to
groups.
segregate the cultures. It's so strange. This is so regressive.
It's remarkable. I can't wrap my head around how anyone thinks it's racist to experience and appreciate a different culture. See, back in my hometown, at one of our museums, all the time, they're holding Native American cultural festivals. They're holding Hispanic cultural festivals, and they're great. They have food, art, music, all kinds of stuff that everyone can come and experience. And, you go to one, and people from all walks of life are there. People from all different cultures, all different ethnicities are all
We
there.
have that back in my hometown.
I would imagine they have them in a lot of places.
Mine is my hometown is a lot larger than yours, and
Yes.
so they're just all over the place. And these appreciation festivals, because that's what they are. They're going around and saying, "Hey, look at this culture that you've never seen before or have seen in a very limited scope. Check out how cool it is.
Come experience it and come appreciate it."
That's what it is.
And they're always a lot of fun, and like I said, you see all types of people there, and they can experience and interact with these different cultures. And oddly enough, I've never heard anyone ever having a problem with that until I started looking into this new social justice culture that's rising in the West. Now, here we have an example of cultural appropriation shutting down a museum exhibit. The thing we're about to show next, I think, is far more sinister, far more insidious. This video that we're about to show has made its rounds all over the internet. There's a very, very good chance that you've seen it before, but you're going to see it again. This lovely little event took place at, I believe it was San Francisco University, and it features a very, very entitled individual, a pair of very, very entitled individuals, openly harassing a white student simply because they don't like his hairstyle. So without any further ado, I think we should roll the clip.
Clip is rolling.
Saying that I can't have a hairstyle because of your culture? Why?
Because it's my culture. You know what belongs to me.
Do you know it was an Egyptian culture? Are you Egyptian? Nah, bro, you're not.
Are you Egyptian?
No, but doesn't matter.
Wait, where's Egypt? Tell me.
You know what, girl?
Where's Egypt?
Dude, girl, you have no right to tell me what I can not wear. Huh?
Where's Egypt?
Yo, girl, stop touching me right now.
Yo, girl, stop touching me right now. Come back.
Get off of me.
Come back. Come back. You put your hands on me, you'll learn.
Like, you don't make such some shit because of what the hair I have? That's no reason, yo. I don't need your disrespect. I don't need your disrespect.
Why are you filming this?
Just for everyone's safety.
So, there you go. You've seen it firsthand. And,
If that doesn't make you uncomfortable, I'm not sure anything will make you uncomfortable, because watching that was bullying. That was bullying, was it not?
it was borderline assault.
Well,
I mean, this woman and her crony. Can you imagine being that entitled?
no, I can't.
Can you imagine walking up to someone and saying, "Oh, that thing that you do, you wear, you have, you can't have that because, well, my culture produced that.
Well, I can't imagine doing that, but I can imagine experiencing.
Well, I mean, yes, you can imagine. You can imagine experiencing it. You want to tell your story now?
Sure. Okay. So I was walking back from class, and an individual approached me and said, "Those sandals you are wearing is the appropriation of the Hawaiian and African cultures." I'm gonna let that sink in, and I confronted this individual and I said, "So which is it? Is it the Hawaiian culture or is it the African culture? Because it can't be both. How often have you heard about the Hawaiians interacting with the Africans?"
Well, you know, the pre-Columbian Hawaiian-African trade routes.
Oh,
across
yeah.
the Pacific.
Oh, man. Everyone's aware of those. And so I essentially argued with this individual and told them that cultural appropriation doesn't matter. It just does not matter, because these are ideas and concepts that are being shared between cultures, and just because they are being shared does not diminish the fact that they are important. It doesn't.
Not at all.
And so eventually this person backed down and left me alone, but it was very strange to encounter this, because before that I had never actually encountered cultural appropriation outside of
in the wild.
Yeah, outside of the internet. It was the mythical, concept. It just didn't exist in my life.
What these people don't seem to understand is that humans, for as long as humans have been around, have taken part in trade. And trade is one of the most critical aspects of civilization, because trade is what allows an innovation in one corner of the world to be experienced the world round.
Mm-hmm.
It's what allows cultures, languages, technologies, techniques, all kinds of things to spread. If it wasn't for trade, I don't know if the human race would have even survived.
We certainly would have stagnated.
Definitely. I mean, and we'd still be nomadic tribes following around herds of mammoths. Well, not mammoths, because they went extinct. But you know what I mean, right? And I just, and I mean, do these people have the slightest concept of history? Have they ever cracked open a history book? And
but I also want to take a look at that woman. All right, she is enjoying herself, is she not?
Oh, look at her facial expressions. Go back, watch the video, and watch her facial expressions. She is deriving so much pleasure.
She's having a grand old time.
She looks like she's on some sort of power trip.
And
like she enjoys exercising this power she has over this man.
And she knows it's wrong. She knows it's wrong, because otherwise she wouldn't mind being filmed, would she?
Yeah, notice how her smile disappears when she noticed she's being filmed.
And the student that was filming said he was filming for the safety of all involved.
Yep, just for everyone's safety. That was the best response he could have given her.
It was fantastic.
Given that reply. And then you'll notice that she then tries to forcibly remove the camera from his hands.
Yeah.
Or she at least bats it away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what does that tell you? When you realize, oh, wow, what I just did wasn't private. I better try to remove the evidence.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Do some damage control.
Now, I also asked you to go back to this video and look at the pants that this woman is wearing. Because I don't know about you guys, and I could be wrong here, but they appear to me to either be blue jeans or some sort of offshoot of blue jeans. And Lex, do you know who invented blue jeans?
As a matter of fact, I do. It was Jacob Davis. No, it was Davis and Strauss.
And Levi Strauss.
Yeah.
These two gentlemen who are appearing on the screen, you'll notice they are both white. So, I'm sorry, ma'am.
They have very manly hair. Just look at that.
Oh,
facial
those
hair.
chops.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, ma'am, but I'm afraid you're going to have to never ever wear jeans again because, well, you're appropriating my white culture. And while we're on the subject of white culture, using regressive logic, let's look at some other things that ethnic groups outside of white people shouldn't be able to use. Telephones, invented by Alexander Graham Bell.
Can't use them. That guy that's sitting in the background, just tapping on his phone, he can't do that. That's appropriating my culture.
Airplanes, invented by the Wright brothers. Electricity, Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla. Edison being an American, Tesla being a Serb. The sewing machine, invented by Isaac Singer. Cinematography, movies, and film, invented by Thomas Edison. Gasoline engines, invented by 2 Germans, Otto and Daimler. They can't eat pizza, sausages, pasta, or meatloaf. They shouldn't be able to take part in any type of European folklore. So Lord of the Rings is off limits, definitely. Any type of European folk music, any type of American folk music, country music, classical music. Actually, come to think of it, they shouldn't be able to live in a democratic society because that is an appropriation of Greek culture.
Yeah, free and open elections? No.
Nope,
Can't
I'm
use
sorry.
that. That's mine.
Oh, free market? You like the free market? I'm sorry. Adam Smith is the father of capitalism, and he was white. Have you ever been to a Celtic festival, Lex?
I haven't. I've been to a Greek festival.
Okay, all right. Kind of the same thing. I love Celtic festivals and Scottish festivals and all kinds of things like that, where, you know, all kinds of people can come and experience these various types of European culture. You notice how nobody's ever up in arms about those?
Oh.
Like,
it's because they're white.
It is because they're white. But I mean, like, I go to a Celtic festival, and, you know, it's the same with like, the, you know, Mexican culture festivals and the Native American culture festivals. The people there are very eager and very happy to share their culture with people. Yeah. I know I certainly would be.
As are the people. It's not just, you know, these Celtic or these, you know, the Greek fests that I described. It's all of these cultural festivals. All of these cultures are excited to share their, you know, their way of life with people.
And as they should be.
They should be, because it's very, very interesting and cool. But you can't do that because it's cultural appropriation.
Planet Earth is a very vibrant place, filled with all sorts of different people who have all sorts of different customs and practices. And if you take the time to explore all these cultures and practices, you'll be astonished as to what kind of stuff you can find. All sorts of beautiful art and music and types of food. But these people just can't have that.
They can't.
And I just don't understand why. So, let's take a look at this fine gentleman here. This guy is named Joe Hisaishi. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I apologize sincerely, Joe, if that is not how you pronounce your name. But this man is a composer. He composes the music for a lot of Japanese films. If you're familiar with the works of Studio Ghibli and you know, any Miyazaki films, you're probably familiar with Mr. Hisaishi's work. He's a very good composer. He's one of my favorite modern composers. The music he writes is just incredibly beautiful. But he writes it for a Western-style symphony orchestra.
And he also writes it for cinema.
You're right, for film. Mm-hmm. For animation. Animated films mostly, which also originated in the West. But, you know, when I sit down and I listen to a piece of Hisaishi's work, it never crossed into my mind that, oh my God, this Japanese man is appropriating my white culture.
He's stealing it.
No, you know what my thoughts was? Wow, this man is an incredibly talented artist who has given us a very large and very beautiful body of work. I am thrilled he appropriated our white culture because I mean his work is phenomenal. I would never dream of telling this man that no, I'm sorry, you can't write for violins and trumpets. Those were invented in Europe.
Yep. Can't do that. And so the main reason why why we're saying you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't use, you know, sewing machines or gasoline engines. We're not actually saying that.
No.
All right? We're using their logic. Regressive logic.
Regressive logic.
It's been coined.
It's a word we coined earlier today.
To sort of point out why this is a terrible mindset to have. All right? If they want it so bad, sure. You know, we can't have dreadlocks anymore, but they can't have modern medicine.
No, I'm sorry. None of that. Artificial hearts and such? Nope, I'm sorry.
So it's just so backwards. It's so regressive how they think. And
see, when cultures communicate and exchange information, we're all better off because of it. Okay? The entire world is better off because of telecommunications. Because of the efforts of Samuel Morse and Alexander Graham Bell and Hughes and Clark. We're all better off because of it. And to think that depriving the world of an advancement, be it technological, be it cultural, simply because those people's skin tone, those people's religion, those people's nation of origin are different from mine, I can't imagine that.
I can't imagine a world where that sort of thing is taken seriously, because we'll be segregated by culture into different, essentially, camps. And, you know, if someone is dying over in the other camp and they need your medicine, you cannot give them that medicine because they are not of your culture.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you just gotta keep quiet. Yeah, there was a lot of outrage. If you guys follow modern music, I personally can't stand modern music. But apparently a rapper by the name of Iggy Azalea took the Grammy for, like, Best New Rapper or whatever. Or, I don't know, she was in some magazine for, like, Most Influential Female Rapper.
I mean, anyone who knows me knows that I just despise rap. so I don't have any idea about that.
And an African-American rapper, Nicki Minaj, basically declared war on Miss Azalea here. Well, because, you know, she's white and she's singing a black type of music. And, you know, you're right, rap did originate in African-American communities. It was an African-American thing. Okay, but I mean, it's a type of music. Shouldn't
the award be given to, you know, the most entertaining and most skilled artist? Right? That's how this works.
It should be, but no, these people love to fixate on race.
They love it.
It's incredible. I mean, when we have regressive leftists saying being colorblind, that is not seeing race when you interact with people. When they're saying that in and of itself is racist because you're denying them their experiences or whatever, I mean, that's incredible. Everyone is prepared. Most people are prepared to leave race out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, this idea of being colorblind and looking at people based on their race is essentially setting back race relations to pre-civil rights era.
Okay, remind me, what was that famous Martin Luther King quote? Something about a world in which my children are judged not by the color of their skin but the content of their character. What Dr. King was saying there was that we all need to be colorblind and treat each other based on our merits and not on our race.
We need to leave race at the door, essentially.
But for whatever reason, these people just love to fixate on it. They just, it has to play in to everything. And this is how it's manifesting. That, you know, white people can't rap because, well, they don't understand the cultural importance of rap. I mean, that's ridiculous.
It's completely absurd.
Does Joe Hisaishi not understand the cultural significance of Mozart and Beethoven?
Actually, I think he does.
He probably does.
And he shows us I'm assuming he shows a great appreciation for that art. That's why he has dedicated his life to producing it.
Mm-hmm. I would just love to live in a world where everybody can produce the art that they like, everyone can consume the art that they like, regardless of their race. And it feels odd that I have to say that in regards to a group of people who have labeled themselves, you know, the social justice movement.
You know, in my head I just said, it's 2016.
It's 2016, because it's 2016. If you guys aren't familiar with Justin Trudeau, he's the Prime Minister of Canada, and that's his favorite line.
It's the current year.
I mean, it's 2016, that's why I do things.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know...
I mean, Hitler, why'd you invade Poland? It's 1939.
Yeah, it's 1939.
It's about time we invaded Poland. So, yeah, I think that was a good basic interview rundown of cultural appropriation. You have anything you want to add?
Actually, yeah, one little thing. There are people out there that actually argue that you can't appropriate white culture because white culture doesn't exist.
That's true. I have heard multiple people say that white culture doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And, you know, I find that really funny because I love history. We both love history.
We love history. It's fantastic.
And, you know, I was in here the other night making a pair of replica shields. I was making a replica Viking shield, and I made a replica... They're in my car.
Oh.
And I made a replica of a Roman cavalry shield, and I was sitting there thinking... Man, I'm having such a great time making these little recreations of great pieces of white history and culture. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. It's fictitious.
I mean, just anybody who would claim that white people don't have a culture are insane.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what do you think white people did before they made contact?
We probably just...
Like, what, they just sat around and stared at each other?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
no. I just don't understand.
I don't understand
how
that
these
either.
people can think this way.
But I did feel like that needed to be mentioned, because there are people out there that say that white culture doesn't exist, and it is simply an amalgamation of other cultures.
Yep.
And essentially, you know, without them, we would essentially cease to exist. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I mean,
you know, it's almost as if they're painting white people as helpless. Like, white people are incapable of creating a culture of their own. They need the other ethnicities to do it for them, but then they whine and cry about how oppressed they are.
I'm sure that there is someone out there that does claim that.
It's
probably
I'm sure there are multiple
Ghazi.
people. I mean, I could probably go on YouTube right now and find you 5 people who claim that.
Just look at Ghazi.
Ghazi. More on Ghazi later.
We should do an entire episode on Ghazi.
I'm multiple episodes on Ghazi.
Well, anyway, I don't have anything else to add, so I think that's
All right.
a good.
Yeah, this was kind of a brief introduction into cultural appropriation. It might come up later. It will probably come up later. You know, the nice thing about the regressive left is that if ever there's a slow week where nothing really happens and we don't have anything to cover, we can always just go to the regressive left and pick out one of the things they cry about and just cover that, and we'll never, ever run out of topics.
Yeah. I mean, we're constantly waiting for the authoritarian right to slip up and do something, but the regressives are just... They love to post their authoritarianism all over the media.
They're so much more vocal about it.
Yeah.
The authoritarian right, you know, they'll like pass laws in Mississippi and things.
We'll be talking about laws passed in Mississippi.
Yeah, we got some stuff planned there. But yeah, the regressives, they love to whine and cry and play victim. I mean, if you noticed in the SFU video, this woman has been like physically restraining this guy, and then when he pushes her away, you're just, oh, did you just lay your hands on me?
He actually didn't even push her away. He just kind of pulled himself out of her grip.
Yeah.
And then she cried victim.
And we see this a lot in the regressive left,
Yeah.
where they will accost someone, and the retaliation will be given in kind, and then they will start crying, "Look, I've been victimized."
Mm-hmm. Happened in Mizzou.
Yeah, in Missouri. If you guys aren't familiar with the Missouri